Hey guys, what's going on? Tyrauku here, back again with another raid video. So today, we're going to be talking about Yannica. Now, hopefully, everybody watching this video either already has Yannica or you'll be getting her soon. And by soon, I mean Plarium soon, as in not really that soon, but hopefully sometime eventually down the road because she is a clan shop champion. Now, you can only get 5 per week, so it's going to take some time to get her. But if you've pulled her before this event, now I am going to ask in the content creator chat, does anybody know this? If anybody down here knows this right now, definitely let me know down below in the comment section. But if I don't purchase all the Yannica fragments, will the new fragment champion who comes out in the clan shop, will it not be available to me until I purchase all of Yannica's fragments? Because if that's the case, I'm going to have to go ahead and get a duplicate Yannica, which I don't really want. But if it's not the case, then I'll just not worry about buying any more Yannica fragments because I don't need a duplicate of her. I just pulled her 2 days ago. I tried pulling her during the Trunda 10x event, which Trunda's over here. This chick right here, well, not me, kind of looks like I'm pointing at myself, but this girl right there. Okay, so I was trying to get Trunda during the 10x, didn't get her. Got Manaya and Yannica, which Yannica is actually a champion that I used to use a ton of, okay? On my old account, I had Yannica. I actually use her in Fire Knight. I'm going to talk about all the ways you can use her and what I think about her as a champion overall. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in here. Let's talk about her build. We'll get into her skills, whether it's worth booking. We'll go over her masteries, and then I'll talk about some dungeons. I'm not going to run her through too much dungeons. I'm going to showcase her in the arena, and then we'll talk about dungeons, and you can kind of take from that what you may, as well as clan boss. She actually has some pretty legit use as far as clan boss. Now, when it comes to her build, the main thing, what I'm going to do with her, there's kind of 2 different ways to build Yannica, okay? So attack is very important because all of her damage scales off of attack. So you essentially want this as high as possible. Typical nuke champion, right? Now her speed, this is going to be completely up to you and your team build, all right? So for me, I can run her a little bit slower. I have Kymar on my arena team. If your team's very easy to speed tune, if you have a Lysandra, then you can run your arena team. You can run Yannica kind of slow. For me, doesn't really matter what his speed is because Kymar is going to sleep the enemy. They're going to skip their turn. Yannica's going to take hers. Now, we'll talk about this more for the arena when I get there, but there are some things to work around reaction gear, and that's where I'm going to be doing this. She has a few issues against reaction, but the next thing, crit rate is very important to get her to 100% because her A2 ability actually gives her perfect veil if the attack is critical. If it's not critical, she doesn't get perfect veil. She still gets the extra turn, but she doesn't get perfect veil, and we do want perfect veil. Now, her damage, crit damage, definitely another stat you want to push as high as you can get. And then this is like the nuker build for the arena that I'm going with. But the other build would be building her with accuracy because her A1 ability, it has a leech debuff, which you may or may not want that debuff. But if you do, you will have to keep in mind you do need to build accuracy. Her A3 ability also has a chance to remove shields, which also requires accuracy. Basically, anything that you do that doesn't, or that applies an effect to the enemy, whether it's applying a debuff, reducing their turn meter, stripping their shields, you're going to need accuracy for that. Unless it says can't be resisted. If it says can't be resisted, you don't need accuracy 9 times out of 10. Maybe they add some different wording down the future, but if you want her to strip shields, if you want her to apply leech, you will need accuracy. Now, if you're going to use her in dungeons, say Dragon Stage 20, you're going to need about 200 accuracy. You need about 10 times the stage level of accuracy to actually apply the debuffs to the enemy. Now, stage 25 of dungeons, I don't think actually scale up that much higher. So that 200 accuracy should be pretty good, but you can push it a little bit if you want to be on the safe side of things as well. So this is the gear I have her in. You don't need to get her this stacked and building, okay? So I have Savage gear for some defense ignore. I have Cruel gear for some defense ignore as well. But if you can't get this, no problem whatsoever. Your numbers are going to be scaled back, but it's going to be for where you're at, your level of play, right? So if you had the same stats, but just regular gear, she's still going to hit hard. And you'll see that in the arena. She's more than one-shotting people, okay? Now, the people I'm going to be going against, I'm kind of low in gold force, but we'll see that in just a few minutes. Now, her A1 ability attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing leech for 2 turns. Now, attacks all enemies 2 times instead if this champion is under a veil buff. So you can run with a Rector Drath, with a Duchess. Yannica gives her own veil, but you may need some help with getting other veils, okay? So keep that in mind because her A2 does have some conditions that you do need to watch out for. Now, her A1, 5, 5, and 10 as far as the damage increases if you book her. Now, looking at her book, she needs 3 there, she needs 3 there, and then she needs 4 here. So she doesn't have a big book requirement, but let me read through these skills and I'll let you guys know what I think about when it comes to booking her because as you can see, mine is currently unbooked. But her A2 attacks one enemy, places a perfect veil buff on this champion for 3 turns if this attack is critical. Then grants an extra turn. So if it's a crit, she gets a perfect veil. Now, the issue with that is if it is not a crit, then she doesn't get perfect veil. She doesn't get the benefit from this A1 ability attacking all enemies 2 times. And, well, then it just doesn't hit that hard at all, okay? So if you're running against reaction, if you're weak hitting the enemy, so if you're running against magic champions, you're not going to get that ability. But I will go in here and show you guys, even if it doesn't crit, you will still get that extra turn. So let me go in here real quick to the campaign. We'll go ahead and give it a shot in Nightmare, just a real quick test. But let's go ahead and make sure that what I'm saying is correct. So we did get a crit there, got an extra turn, of course, right? We'll go ahead and do it a few more times. I'm wasting a lot of energy. I should just do this on easy or something. So no crit, extra turn still, easy peasy, not a big deal. But I don't get the perfect veil, so this A1 ability is attacking a single enemy versus all enemies. So keep that in mind. You really, really want her to have that extra turn. So you do want to build her with 100% crit rate, especially important because that A2, getting that extra turn allows her to cycle through her abilities so much better, right? Because like if you don't have that A2 ability fully booked, it's a 4-turn cooldown. But if you do get it fully booked and you're getting the extra turn, now you're getting it, you're going like all the time with the A2 ability. It's up so frequently. But if it's not booked, then you're kind of in a bad spot, right? Now, even if it's, well, sorry, if you don't get that extra turn, you're kind of in a bad spot, especially if it's not booked. Now, if it is booked, you basically, you always want extra turns when you get them, right? So just get your nuker to 100% crit rate. I don't need to explain. I think you guys all understand that, right? So her A3 ability, it says attacks all enemies, will ignore shield buffs, remove shield buffs from the target if this champion is under a veil or perfect veil buff. Then deals extra damage equal to 15% of the removed shields. Now this ability does require accuracy, even though it kind of seems like the second part wouldn't, that if you had veil or perfect veil, that you wouldn't need accuracy. But let me go in here real quick and show you that if you do expect your Yannica to remove shields, if you expect her to land that leech, she is going to need accuracy. So obviously that's going to take away from your damage, right? So do you want Yannica to be doing a lot of damage, or do you want her to be doing leech and stripping shield? So some situations like this, maybe you don't have a buff removal. Maybe you could build her with accuracy for this, but if not, watch it. Okay, so she has low accuracy. Some of them may come off, but not all of them. So it's resisted. The shields are all still there. So keep that in mind. Maybe some situations you need her to remove the shields, but most situations for me, I'm not going to have her removing shields. I'm going to leave that to Kymar, leave that to Madam, but I know not everybody has those champions who can remove shields that easily. But if you need a champion to do that, she's perfect because not only does she remove them, but she deals extra damage based on the value of the shield she removes. So if you go against Krisks, she's going to remove them and deal so much damage versus those champions. Now, when it comes to the books for Yannica, she needs 4 on her A3, 3 on her A2, and then 3 on her A1. Now, they're all damage, okay? So to be 100% honest, my Yannica is going to do perfectly fine without having any books. However, if you have enough books, she is definitely worth it because if you can cycle through, especially this A2 ability, if you can get this cooldown lowered, I think that's the most important one. So if you do 3 books and you get this done, easy, okay? If you're using it as an arena nuker and your gear is kind of like decent but not great and you want that extra damage, this is a good chunk of extra damage and reduces the cooldown by 1. Now, in arena, are you going to be using this ability more than once? Most likely not. But keep that in mind that the cooldowns being reduced is a big help. Definitely worth it if you have the books, but I wouldn't put, personally for me, I wouldn't put Yannica at the top of my list on a champion who needs books because especially if you're using her for like her A1, the leech, you don't really need this book because it has no buff or debuff chance being increased, right? So it's always going to land the leech at a 50% chance. The only way that's going to be changed is if you get into her masteries and take this mastery down here, sniper, it'll increase the chance by 5%. So is she worth the books? Yeah, she definitely is. But is she a champion that I would book over maybe Seal of the Drakes, who has buff and debuff chance changes and a cooldown reduction? No. I think Yannica is a very, very good champion without being fully booked. The damage boost is very, very nice. So she does have quite a bit of value from it. If you're using her as your dedicated nuker, I would 100% book her. But if you're using her like I did on my previous account, which was like for Fire Knight progression, sometimes for an arena nuker, and just overall, just progressional stuff, I didn't need a booker. I'll show you guys how much damage she can still do. Like she's one-shotting basically everybody who she hits with this A2 ability. But we'll get into that in just a few seconds. Now her masteries, this is the setup I have. I have Helm Smasher. You can't really see it, but it's literally right behind me. I'm trying to turn my chair. Dang it, I can't get out of the way for Helm Smasher, but it's there. The Helm Smasher is right down here. I do have it. Now, if you're in the arena, if that's your main focus, I would definitely go Helm Smasher. if you're over 200% crit damage, especially. If you're at 200% crit damage or lower, then I would look into maybe going Flawless Execution. If you're using it for Clan Boss, I would go War Master. Speaking of, I didn't go over her A1 ability too much. This Leech is huge, okay? So Leech basically works as a mini lifesteal set. It heals you for, I think, 18% of the damage that you deal. And if you're going War Master Mastery, you can basically strip your champions from lifesteal gear, use Yannica for the clan boss, and you're good to go. Now, this works with any champion who has Leech, whether it's Grush the Mangler. I think he has Leech as well. I think it was A1 also. But if you have Yannica, you don't really need a lifesteal set on your champion. You can take them out of lifesteal, throw them into some more damage, more sustainability, and it's a lot easier to gear your team if you don't have to specifically go lifesteal gear. Now, as far as everything else goes, there's a few things I would possibly change. Maybe this deterrence, I would swap that for methodical instead. A little bit of extra damage over the course of some rounds, but ultimately this is going to come down to personal preference. This is a pretty good core setup, and this is what I do like this setup. But if you're going to use it for dungeons, go the support tree maybe. Go this one, go pinpoint accuracy, extra accuracy, get some more accuracy, and then maybe some evil eye, maybe even lore of steel if you want some damage boosted based on your base stats. If the artifact set boosts your base stats, this will increase that. And then maybe a Master Hexer. Now, if you want to land the A1 ability more frequently, go Sniper. But if you want to have it extended whenever you do land it, because it's already a 50% chance to land it, then go Master Hexer. But this, I think, is a pretty solid arena setup if I don't need accuracy. But obviously, if I want to go accuracy, I'm definitely going the support tree. Now, ultimately, before we get into some testing, I think Yannica is a great champion. She's one of the OG champions, right? Like, she's been out for a long time. So most of those champions are pretty useful. Not all of them, don't get me wrong, not all of them, but a lot of them are very useful. Kymar, Yannica, a lot of those ones are really good. And they typically don't require too many books. Yannica being one of them. I believe, what is it? 3, 6, 10. Yeah. So very, very low book requirements overall. Now, as far as this team I'm going to use here, I'm not going against very powerful enemies, right? So these enemies I'm going against, honestly, I could probably just use Kymar, but we'll see with Arbiter as well. We'll see how much damage she can do. Sorry if you guys can hear a baby screaming in the background. He's a little upset. Probably time for feeding, but let's see what Madam's speed is. Okay, so she's looking good. Now, Kymar, I mentioned this before. Kymar allows my Yannica to be ran really slow because he stuns or not stuns, sorry. I wish he stunned people. Stand? I don't think stand is the correct tense. I don't think you can just make your own tense up for stun there, Ty. All right, come on, dude. All right, so this A2 ability, I do want to get the perfect veil applied, so I'm going to go ahead and use the A2 on Madam. I don't want to weak hit anybody. If you're early in the game, you're going against a lot of Magic Affinity champions. Yannica may not be amazing in the arena because of all these weak hits that are going to happen. Also, with reaction gear, you got to be careful because she uses A2 into reaction. It's going to feel bad. She's going to do no damage, and it's going to kind of suck. But if you're going against higher level arena, you start to see less and less Magic Affinity champions in the arena. This is pretty low where I'm at currently. But once you get to the point where you're seeing more Candrafons on defense, you're seeing more Rector Drafts, Duchesses, Yannica has a nice benefit where she's not weak against Duchess, she's just neutral, but she's strong against Candrafon, she's strong against Rector Draft, all those champions that a typical Magic Affinity nuker is weak against. Yannica is good. She can do plenty of damage. It's not a problem for her whatsoever, whereas your Trundas, your Herndigs, they can get the weak hits, and it's just not a good situation overall for those type of champions. So Yannica has a very, very solid use when it comes to using her in the arena. Very good champion. If you do need a good arena nuker, definitely consider looking into Yannica. Now, granted, like I said, if you're coming against a lot of Magic Affinity champions, you may have to sub out Yannica for a little while because you will be getting a lot of weak hits. Okay, and it's definitely going to slow down your progression. But if you're seeing a pretty good mix of like Void Affinity, Spirit Affinity, and even Force Affinity, then yeah, definitely throw her in there. Unfortunately, this isn't the best showcase right here because I'm so low in the arena right now. She's one-shotting everybody no matter what. Granted, I can throw her in a 3v3 match real quick. Since I'm a little bit higher in 3v3, I can show you guys what she can do there. Let's go do that. I'll go ahead and sacrifice a 3v3 match for you guys so I can show you against a team that's going to be a little bit more powerful, I guess, all right? So we'll jump in here against this Duchess team, Duchess and Valkyrie, all right? I may not even be faster for real, but we're about to find out though. Let's go ahead and drop this team right here. Arbiter, Lysandra. I'd rather have Kymar on that team, but you know what? Forget it. It doesn't even matter, all right? We'll throw Yannica in there as well, and let's hope and pray this actually works, okay? So this first team, actually, let's go against the first team, all right? This is a team where a typical Hermdig nuker actually wouldn't be very good because of Rector Draft. Let's go ahead and give an example of how much damage she can actually do. Now, we do have Sandlash Survivor in here. And to be honest, I should probably target Sandlash first, because if not, gonna get the ally protection. It's gonna be bad news, bad day overall. So let's go ahead and, if I can, target Sandlash first. Duchess may veil. Okay, she didn't. So there's a few things I could do. I could target Sandlash. It's gonna help out, but I can also target Duchess and she won't res. So let's actually do Duchess. Let's say she has more HP, be a harder champion to one-shot. Let's see how much damage she does. 110,000 damage. Okay, obviously would have killed her had she not had the absolutely fair, fun, and balanced Swift Parry set on her. A3 did decent damage as well. Everybody has ally protect, and she has block damage. So unfortunately, our damage was kind of stopped right there. And Trunda's about to show us what a damage dealer does, right? Like, she's about to go off and probably mess my entire team up. But go ahead and try this one more time. We'll quit the series. I'll actually sacrifice 2 tokens for you guys, okay? We're going to target Sandlash this time and see if I can do anything different whatsoever, okay? So I'm going to get my dailies done with having to do 5 3v3 matches and drop my ranking, which I didn't really want to do. We'll also give you guys a good showcase of what Yannica can actually do and how well she performs, okay? So the A2 ability on Sandlash this time turned to 1-time speed. Boom, 102,000 damage. Duchess didn't even know what happened. She looked to her side and she's like, yo, Sandlash, you're supposed to be ally protecting us. Where are you at? She's laying. She's taking a nap, okay? She's not booked, remember that. If I booked her, she would do more damage. Now, her A3 this time deals a total of, boom, destruction. 61,000 damage on Duchess. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get an extra. Actually, let's go ahead and boost. Maybe try to get Lysandra to fully reduce Duchess's turn meter. Okay, we didn't. Not a big deal. Duchess decides we don't actually need Sandlash. She actually failed us before, so we'll just leave her on the floor. So we use the A2 for Madam. Doesn't strip Duchess. Too high of resistance. Same thing here. Bada bing, bada boom. Turn on auto because now we're basically dead. That's just a Trunda for you guys. That's why I tried to get her. Unfortunately, I got Yannica, but Yannica is still a very good champion. Like I mentioned, very solid nuker. She has her use cases. She very, very good for getting rid of those big tank threats. Granted, with Swift Parry, you do kind of need to build your team around that in expectation anyways. For me, I would run her with Kymar plus Arbiter plus Madam and then Yannica, because if they do proc Swift Parry, Kymar just resets and then my Madam can strip again the next turn. So it's not a problem whatsoever. I'm not going to do these matches. These aren't important. But overall, guys, if you're looking for a champion, okay, sorry. Before I get into the summary, I did want to mention that her use in Fire Knight is actually very, very solid and legit. I used to use her on my old account for Fire Knight, but her A2 ability, this is a 1-hit, okay? And then her A1, 2-hit, okay? So you have 3 hits on the Fire Knight shield. Very, very good for breaking that shield. Like I said, I used to use her quite a bit on my other account. If you book this down, she's cycling through her abilities so quickly that you're not only breaking the shield, but you're also getting this A1 ability to actually apply the leech to the Fire Knight. So if he does hit you and you get back to getting a shield down and stuff, then your allies are actually going to be healing themselves based on the damage they deal, 18% based on the damage they deal, and it's going to help your team sustain. Overall, very, very solid for her to use that. Now, when it comes to other dragon dungeons like Dragon Stage 20, Magic Affinity, so she's not great here, but let's say Dragon Stage 21. Got a little meme team going here. Actually, no, this was for my Cybele video. Let's go ahead and do this. I'll just throw her in here real quickly and see what kind of damage she can do if they're decreased defense and weaken on the enemy, plus increased attack on herself. Not anything crazy as far as buffs go, but her AI is going to be pretty good. So her A2, and then she uses A3. So, I mean, you can't knock that damage, right? 100,000 damage on the waves. We're not doing like anything insane. Like, we got decreased defense and weaken. We have increased attack. We don't have increased crit damage, nothing like that. And we got leech on all the enemies. So our allies are going to be healing 3,000 plus 2,000 for every enemy that's attacked. And since Yannica does have her crit, did have perfect veil, it's going to be applying this to all enemies. Now, granted, right now it's only going to apply to 1, but let's get back around to her turn once again, and let's see if we can apply the leech to everybody, which is so, so good. Throw her in a stun set. She could do the A2 into a stun possible on the A1, okay? So there's so many different ways you can build Yannica. Very, very solid champion. Leech is such a good debuff, like I mentioned though, but we got on the Shatterbones, this dude, and this guy, okay? So we have 3 different people with leech on them. When we get to the dragon, same thing, leech. Don't even need lifesteal, okay? We're in a very good spot now. So if you're looking for a champion to help you with dungeon progression, if you're looking for a good nuker against those annoying Force Affinity champions, Yannica is definitely a champion worth building. I think for most accounts, she's worth building, okay? For your 3v3 team, overall, very good. Let me know, guys, where you use her at currently. And she's chunking the dragon down, even on stage 21, where enemy max HP damage is a little less impactful. She's not getting the leech up because, like I mentioned, she doesn't have very high accuracy. She's like pretty low on accuracy, actually. So it's going to be resisted. It's not going to be placed. That's no big deal. I'm not worried about that on the dragon, but for the waves, more so if you're coming up and progressing through the game, that's going to help you so much with surviving in general, guys. So that's Yannica. I'm probably going to book her down the road, but let me know. Did you guys book her? Is she worth it for you overall? I think she gets a huge benefit from books, but they're not required. It does increase the overall quality of life, but if you don't book her, she's still going to one-shot in the arena. She's still going to do great for you, and she comes along with a 30% ally attack in all battles aura. Okay, you can't beat that. It's such a good aura for all battles, literally everywhere. Clan boss, arena, all battles is all battles, okay? So take that into consideration as well. I didn't mention it, I kind of glossed over it, but this is a huge aura, super helpful, guys. So thank you all very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you all in the next one.